You know what? It's not like I didn't say it was coming. For months now, I've been talking about this stuff, saying it was a bad idea. But the reviews for Beyond Light are in, and it ain't good. 3.5, 3.7, 4.5. These Metacritic reviews look terrible. Why? Because it's hard to justify an expansion when 40-50% of the game gets vaulted and another 60% of the game gets sunset, aka the loot that you earn. Now, this may be a Destiny 2 expansion review of Beyond Light, but we're really gonna veer off into no man's land when we start talking about a lot of these points. Some of you that are just tuning in for the first time, maybe you're just like, yo, I just want to see what this Beyond Light thing is all about. Is this a good expansion? The skinny? Yes, it actually is. Story-wise, this is the first to a new trilogy. It was probably going to be the story for Destiny 3, but Bungie has actually decided not to actually push for a Destiny 3, but instead keep Destiny 2, which as a veteran player, I'm okay with this. We've got tons of quests, tons of exotics, tons of lore, everything already right here in Destiny 2. I'm completely fine with keeping things in-house. Matter of fact, for the longest time, at least from a marketing perspective, we've been asking Bungie to drop the 2. Call it Destiny Universe, Destiny Forever, or just Destiny. But the TLDR for this expansion, narratively, fantastic. UI updates, wonderful. Europa, beautiful. Truly next gen. Like really, the dynamic weather system is amazing. And before somebody jumps up and goes, oh wow, really? You're getting a hard on for a blizzard? Yeah, I actually am. It's amazing, and it looks amazing. But where all the negative reviews are really resulting from is a lack of content. Now, that's not to say that Beyond Light didn't present content, but it's actually because Bungie took away a bunch of assets and sunset a bunch of gear. So let me give you the rundown of what went down this past summer. First up, Bungie announced earlier this year, hey guys, guess what? Good portion of the game's gonna go away. Destinations, Titan, Mars, Io, Mercury are going bye-bye. But don't worry, it's going into a Destiny content vault. Now, before they can even get to why they were doing this, everybody was just losing their mind. Rightfully so, right? No, how Bungie should have led off with this was, hey guys, listen, you're about to be experiencing a new destination, a true next-gen area that's gonna have this new dynamic weather system that's gonna literally feel cold when you're playing it. When the wind ruffles across the surface of this icy wasteland, you will literally feel the breeze on your balls. And since that chilling feeling feels so amazing, we've decided to actually take down a bunch of the assets in the game, revamp them, and make them as sexy as Europa. Boom. That's how it should have went. Nothing wrong on Bungie's part. They were getting to that. They said it. What I am telling you right now is not breaking NDA. Bungie literally said at some point in the future, content that is being vaulted will be reissued. And the whole reason for all of this is to potentially update those destinations. But you see, that gets lost. And I said a long time ago that that narrative is lost. Many people are upset that so much of the content was vaulted. My assumption is Bungie pretty much already knew what they had coming to them because they wanted to get all the bad out of the way, which takes us to sunsetting. How many videos have we made on sunsetting this past year? Yeah. So much, it became a meme that I talked about sunsetting all the time. But essentially, weapons and stuff that you've earned, you have a time duration that you're allowed to enjoy it in-game content, thus meaning a sunset, a day in which your loot will no longer be able to be leveled up past a certain point, thus leaving them behind. You have an option. You can either delete it from your vault or do what I did and just stick it all in your vault and just pray to God you can hold all this stuff for the next 10 years. Now, I had a lot of people say that I was over dramatic about the sunset videos, especially thumbnails like this one, sunsetting sucks, which the TLDR version of that video is sunsetting sucks. And everybody sits around and scratches their chin and go, yeah, that's logical though. It's logical. From a developer's perspective, it's logical. This renews grind. It incites us to go for more loot. Yeah, guess what? We're not devs. We are gamers. And from a gamer's perspective, spending hours upon hours going after Not Forgotten to suddenly see that it's for sale for next to nothing really diminishes the value of the loot. You see, this conversation was had over a year ago. Over a year ago, I said from the very beginning that getting rid of pinnacles in this game was gonna start a trend, and a bad one. And here we are. Bungie has diminished pinnacles season after season, year over year, to the point where you can literally just go buy these things. Now, I'm not that upset about the raid exotics because that's actually good bad luck protection. You actually have to raid a bunch, or at least what I was told, you have to raid a bunch to to actually acquire the currency to buy raid-related exotics. So I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is every one of these pinnacle weapons, which were balls hard to get, are now available for a bag of Gilmer, Ascendant shards, and some other materials. It just doesn't match the effort that was put into getting those pinnacles. So we've outlined it. Sunsetting, bad. Destiny content vault, narrative, loss. Although it does serve a purpose. You think I wouldn't want Titan with typhoons? Mars with sandstorms? Think about that. What if those destinations come back in the future? At some point, and it has those levels of updates, those revampings. It'll be a night and day difference. As a matter of fact, something to be said about Beyond Light just in general. The UI update, the color changes in all the environments, Europa by itself is amazing. Beyond Light has a lot of really good things going for it. So I'm going to talk about the good now that we just gotten the bad out the way. The only bad point we actually glossed over was Stasis, which is not really bad. It's just Stasis is kind of broken and OP, which we kind of already knew that was going to be the case. We just didn't know how OP. It's nasty. It actually takes nasty to the power of nasty. That's how nasty Stasis actually is in PvP. But I'm not going to get too hung up on Stasis because we know Sandbox will eventually address it in about a year. Who knows? But let's talk about the good. The things that Beyond Light really did nail. First up, I want to mention I love the targeting loot in this expansion. I love that this lost sector says, hey, yeah, I drop exotic helmets. Come do me. And I'm like, oh, I do need an exotic helmet. Yeah, absolutely, I'll do you. +1 there. Another beautiful change. For the first time ever, exotic weapons can be utilized against champions. I know, kind of a veteran change there. If you're a new light player, you're like, what? What's a champion? This is a big change though. And eventually, when you do actually break out your wallet, you too will appreciate this quality of life change. Another thing I really like, exotic armors. Now I'm going to be utilized with Warmind and Charged with Light mods. Fantastic. Quality of life change? Yes. Which takes us to Stasis. Stasis. Yeah, Stasis is like the crack rock of space, all right? Let's just be real. And I've never done crack, so I'm not actually speaking from experience. I'm just saying Stasis fills a power fantasy void that light will never be able to fill. Like the Traveler may think I'm coming back, but no, we are Team Darkness forever now. And now that it's been confirmed here recently from DMG that the Necrotic Grip Thorn combo was actually an intentional synergy from Bungie's Sandbox, this is definitely putting fuel to the fire that a corruption or poison-based subclass is coming in the future. At this point, darkness-based subclasses are well on their way to completely overtake our light-based subclasses, which makes me actually wonder, what's next? Like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna finally update our light-based subclasses? If you think you're having a bad time, imagine how Bungie's Sandbox team is feeling right now. They're just trying to make cool stuff, and all of us are like, yo, man, I don't like this freeze thing in PvP. You suck. And then we got a-holes out there that are like revealing lost sector exploits and bounding glitches, just making life difficult for Bungie Sandbox. You know what I mean? But really though, Stasis is fun as hell. As broken as it may be, it's hard for me to say I want to go back. Sure, getting frozen mid-super is kind of soul killing, but at the same time, it's so much fun to do the exact same thing to someone else. Stasis has now set a new bar. That Forsaken was the only expansion I had seen before actually set, and maybe before that, the Taken King. But Forsaken really took it to another level. Y'all remember how crazy Ursa Furiosa was? Blade Barrage with shards. You know, what's so crazy about that is those supers that we're talking about that were busted at Forsaken were busted when you combined it with exotics. What makes Stasis so dangerous is you don't need exotics to make it busted. It's busted all on its own. And that's actually due to the aspect fragment system, which is amazing, by the way. I love the idea of slotting out nodes here, which is essentially the D1 layout of our subclasses. Like if I was to take these nodes right now, stack them up, put them in this pretty layout similar to D1, you'd be like, oh wow, that looks really similar. Yes, it's what we've been asking for a long time. We've been asking for customizable subclass layouts. Now there is some limitations to it, obviously. You can only slot so many fragments. This is how Bungie's gonna balance things, and it's actually based on our aspects. It's good, man. It's actually ingenious. And then it self-discovered this stuff after the campaign missions to go on this darkness-based post-campaign with the Exo Stranger, who I didn't even know I was in love with until halfway through this thing. She's amazing. The writing was perfect. The narrative was perfect. Europa really is clearly a next-gen destination. Stasis subclasses is better than any 4chan link ever made it out to be. Yet here we are on the cuff of actually one of the best expansions Bungie has ever made. Beyond Light, to me, is so good. Narratively, I loved it. The writing, perfect. The quality of life changes, amazing. So my question to you, how would this expansion feel if instead of a 2 under Destiny, there was a 3? Instead of having any loot in our vault, we all started from 0. Because the reality is, that's exactly what this expansion was originally slated for. It was slated for a Destiny 3. And the move that the devs pulled was to keep everything under one umbrella, under one house. And as a veteran player and someone who's been playing this game since the very beginning, that's all I ever wanted. I wanted expansions to stay with the same game and grow it. Matter of fact, originally, we never wanted to go from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. But at this point, Destiny 2 has overshadowed Destiny 1 in content tenfold. I think the reality is somehow, some way, Bungie has still shipped this expansion. Dude, somebody literally recorded Stasis audio noises from a breast pump. Say what you want to say, Bungie pulled out every stop to make this expansion work and to ship it. A lot of the faults that I see that lies with Beyond Light seems to be more in line with sunsetting in the DCV, which I already knew was going to be the case. What's unfortunate is when Bungie possibly looks at these reviews, they're going to associate it with Beyond Light. And they may even make personnel changes. I don't know. I don't know what's happening on the inside of Bungie. What I do know is that whoever wrote Beyond Light, whoever directed the dialogue, whoever did the cinematics, the artwork, the quality of life changes, whoever's steering the ship on that front did an amazing job. And I want to see them again for the Witch Queen and again for Lightfall. At this point, the fault doesn't lie there, but instead lies on the core changes that Destiny was already being faced with. So should you play Destiny 2 Beyond Light? You don't have to, but you're tuning in for this video. You're thinking about it. Something's obviously interesting you about it. So my answer to you is this. If you like to play with super powerful subclasses, if you want to play with some pretty dope exotics and weapons, if you want to experience a truly next-gen destination in Destiny alongside a very good campaign and an even better post-campaign, yeah, I think this expansion is worth it. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.